All right. Now the roll the dice on if I'm muted on Twitch or not. The I'm not.
That's
All right. I think we're good.
I wasn't muted on YouTube, so that's
Oh,
fine.
so we both had a problem.
Yep. I'm trying to pause the videos too so it
Well,
doesn't take up bandwidth.
well, yeah.
I'm just trying to keep an eye on the chat.
At least with you, if it echoes in your ear, it only echoes in your ear.
And yeah.
Where in my case, if it echoes in my ear, it's also echoing in your ear.
Right.
And then it will then re-echo.
And I'm opening it up so I'm trying something different to keep an eye on the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat separately. Not worried about Facebook yet, but we'll see if that's going to be, if I have to worry about that.
Yeah. I normally keep them both open in case I have to moderate something, but I'm normally not looking at them.
Right.
I don't have enough real estate to look at everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'll try to keep an eye on stuff too. So, hey, Snapworks in the chat already. Getting ready. We're getting ready to start. Thanks for coming in, Snack Network. So, all right, we'll get ready to go. You ready, Jesse?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 394, recorded on September 29th, 2022. On tonight's episode, we talk about E3 2023 news, Stadia packs it up, and Pokemon talk with Jesse. Jesse, you know what to do. And welcome to episode 394. As I said, recorded today, September 29th, 2022. And thank you to everybody who's coming in and watching us live. Just me and just Jesse today. Marty's out, as I said, getting ready to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. And Justin is out trying to mourn Stadia, I guess. So, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Jesse, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, we had a kind of a late dinner. We were hoping to go. We went to one restaurant. I got there at 7:30. Figured, oh yeah, I'll have time to get back in time. And they said, because I looked at the door, they don't close until 9. And they said, oh yeah, we closed the lobby 10 minutes ago. It's to-go orders only right now. I'm like, crap. So we decided to go to Houlihan's. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be late. I'll let Tim know. But my wife and I each ordered the special, which was this potato crusted ahi. Oh, so good.
Sounds delicious. And that's the life of the dads, when we gotta, it's time to go out. It's time to go out, and the show is late. It doesn't matter. We'll get started late. For me, it's been a busy week at work, so I'm happy to not think about work and talk about the games and hang out with Jesse. So with that, let's jump into the news. All right, with that, we've as always, we've got our news brought to you by patreon.com/Nintendo Dads and our Patreons there. Thank you to all of our Patreons who subscribe to us and help us to do all the things we do here, contests and everything, including our upcoming trip to New York for Extra Life and being able to do all 4 of us dads together live for the first time in person to do an episode as well, episode 400, as I said. So, and Jesse and I were just talking about how excited we were in the pre-show. And hopefully all of you are excited about that too. What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, as I said, I'm more nervous about the actual travel, but once I'm there, I think I'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. So if anybody who lives in New York, I know there's a few of you like Mecha Dragon and Liam, and I think a few others, they live out in that way.
Drew, I think said he's like 4 hours out.
Yeah. So if anybody's familiar with New York and can help us out while we're there, that would be great. But other trips that we may have to start planning if we can afford it is E3 2023, which was the dates were announced. Some plans were also announced, such as business days will be held between Tuesday, June 13th and Thursday, June 15th. And game days will be Thursday, June 15th through Friday, June 16th. So media registrations will kick off in December 2022. And with that, somebody in our community asked us a question. Hambone Johnny, in fact, he said, E3 is back next year. What involvement do you expect to see from Nintendo? Jesse, do we expect to see the same thing that we've always seen from Nintendo?
Yeah, I expect Nintendo to be normal for they have their press event that Tuesday morning, usually I think 9 o'clock Pacific time, and then they have a good sized booth in the which I think will be in the business section. Well, I'm not sure how they're going to handle it here because apparently the business days and the gamer days will be in two separate wings, so there will be a separation, especially which is important on that Thursday when there's going to be both sets of people there. But I think we're going to see Nintendo be normal Nintendo for the first time from 4 years.
Right. And you were planning to go in 2020, and of course everything happened to where you couldn't go.
I had everything booked and ready to go, and almost everything paid for in 2020. Had that fell through. I was planning on going again this year. Then they said, yeah, we're not going to have one. So I don't know if I'll be up for traveling again in 2023, because of what's coming up next month.
Right.
And our family is planning a family vacation, which I'm kind of dreading. and
yeah.
So, and I told my wife, depending on what they decide on, I may insist to stay home, and she knows this and okay with this because she knows me. It's her trying to convince the rest of the family that she's okay if I stay home.
Right.
But so that depends on when and where that is. But if it ends up being too close to June, I'm not going to go to E3. But again, we need to know that soon, obviously, if media registrations open up before the end of the year.
That's true.
So I may or may not plan on going to E3. That's to be determined.
Yeah.
And Mecca asked in the chat already.
Okay. Gotcha. So yeah, and it's a dream I've always wanted to go to E3, but it's gonna depend on several things here as well, and we got a lot of family travel potentially in 2023 as well. So
I remember saying after the first year I went that I'd never want to do that again, but that was 11 years ago. I'm ready to do it again.
Yeah, I think too. I may not go this time anyways because of it being the first time that they have that the same company that does the PAX stuff do it with them this year, and maybe let them work out the kinks and then maybe go the following year if it works out.
If I do go, I probably will try to limit myself to only Tuesday, Wednesday, and avoid the days that get the general public in there.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I'll try to get everything squeezed into the 2 days.
Yeah, and I expect Nintendo will be back in it because they've always supported E3 or ESA. Is that ESA?
Yes.
So they've always supported them in that stuff. So I would be surprised if they didn't do anything or have any involvement with it. So the real question now is going to be, is Microsoft still going to do their thing outside of it like they normally do?
Probably.
And is PlayStation going to skip it? Yeah.
Probably. Again, I think they're going to try to do things as much as 2019 as they can, just because that's the only thing they know, unless someone really decides to stir up that pot.
Yep. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'll say that. For me as a fan, as always, I do like that week of gaming. Kind of, we know what's going on, starting with that Sunday, going through all the other days. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, looking in the chat, nothing new there. Okay, so moving on to our Stadia to shut down news.
Okay. Before we do that, because Justin told me that he was going to give a video about Stadia.
Yes.
I was expecting maybe a 5-minute video, something that would easily fit into a podcast. He gave me a 23-minute video.
Yes.
So I figured the way we're going to handle this is, I'll start playing it, and if we decided we want to pause it to comment on something, we'll do that, and we'll just keep on going.
We'll do. And also there's Marty's also in it too. So
yeah,
he has a call.
He did a voicemail call, and not knowing Justin put it in his video, I had it prepped as a voicemail. So now we know not to re-air the same voicemail.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and fire up his video.
Okay, let's see if this is working the way I want it to.
All right, folks, here we go. Here is probably the section that you have tuned in for today. The Justin was wrong section, or the death of Google Stadia. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't be on the show today, but news broke of Stadia ending, closing, RIP Stadia. Officially today, Google announced it. So let me share with you the information, and then I've got questions that have been sent in to me. And so we're going to kind of break down my feelings surrounding Google Stadia. And let me tell you, when this news hit, I got a lot of messages came to Justin today, a lot of messages. So we're going to tackle each of those. So earlier today, at about 10:30 Mountain Standard Time, local for me, I saw an article from The Verge saying that Google had shut it down or was shutting it down. And then today, very shortly after, on Stadia's or Google's official website, a message about Stadia and our long-term streaming strategies. This is from Phil Harris, Vice President and General Manager of Stadia. For many years, Google has invested across multiple aspects of gaming industry. We help developers build and distribute games, apps. Okay. A few years ago, we also launched a consumer gaming service, Stadia. And while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the tractions with users that we expected, so we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. So really important component there. And so I'm going to step a couple of ways through this conversation. I'm going to step at it from a business perspective. I'm going to step at it from a user perspective as well. From a business perspective, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. So basically, short statement, we didn't find the amount of users, the amount of people who were focused on it, people that were dedicated to it, the people that wanted to use it to gain traction, right? Because everything costs money. Platforms, servers, controllers, game contracts, all these things cost money. This was essentially one of the first questions I was asked about Stadia. Who is Stadia really for? And so the answer to that question is, well, someone like me. But when you move that Venn diagram down, it gets lower and lower and lower and lower. Stadia was for people who didn't want to buy a high-end gaming console, whether it be Xbox or whether it be PlayStation, who wanted to spend a large amount of money. You also needed to be an individual who had a strong and good internet connection and believed in a digital future where all you needed to do was bring a controller and you could move forward. Someone that believed in the idea of cloud gaming. Now, I'm saying this not that you had to believe in cloud gaming, that it was this thing that you were going to, but willing to take a risk and be an early adopter. With so much technology and so many changes in the industry, early adopters are the people that you need to stem this. But I would argue, who was Google Stadia really for? It's a very small demographic. It's for a person, again, like me, who only has one console, the Nintendo Switch. Doesn't have an Xbox, doesn't have a PlayStation, is looking to play games that they can't get on those platforms. Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Star Wars, Jedi, Fallen Order. Games like that I couldn't access. That's why I liked Stadia. So who is it for? Someone like me. But there wasn't a lot of people like me, which isn't shocking, right? There are a lot of people who have consoles, Xboxes, PlayStations, PCs who can get these games somewhere else. Let's move on to the next part. We're grateful to the dedicated Stadia players that have been with us from the start. We will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchases made through the Google Store and all games and add-on content purchases made through the Stadia Store. Players will continue to have access to their game library and play through January 18th, 2023, so that they can complete final play sessions. We expect to have the majority of refunds completed by mid-January 2023.
I want to pause here. I think there was some chat in our Discord asking about the cost of subscriptions. I don't think those will be refunded because you got the value of those subscriptions as you paid for the subscriptions. You had
have a
access
response
to
for that.
a small. Okay, so you had they did give you a small library of games. They gave you access to the higher resolutions. So I think you got that value as you paid it. So So my guess is that that isn't going to be refunded. But anyone who bought hardware through Google and anyone who bought software, that'll be refunded. So in my case, I got a controller kit for like $20 or something. It was on a real cheap discount when they celebrated their 2-year anniversary. So that's the only money I put into it. I never had a subscription and never bought any other additional software. So, or at least I just had the free the trial subscription for starting a new account. So I expect to get a small refund, but it'll be $25 or whatever I paid.
Right.
So what's your response?
So my response is more of Stadia's response. I got an email about this from Stadia, and they specifically called out in there about the transactions and subscription fees. And I'll quote from it: all commerce functionality, the ability to buy games, new subscriptions, add-ons, or in-game purchases on Stadia has now been disabled. Users who held an active Stadia Pro subscription as of September 29th, 2022, as of this recording, will not be charged for access to their Pro library or other subscription entitlements during the shutdown period. Historical Stadia Pro subscription fees will not be eligible for refund.
Okay, so I was right there.
Yes.
I got the same email, but I didn't get around to reading it. So
yeah, everybody did.
All right.
Sure.
So if you had a subscription as of this morning, you will have that first subscription for free until service termination. Is that
That's what it sounds like, yes. Yep.
Okay. But if you didn't have it, you're not getting it anymore.
Nope. I even went and checked too. I actually fired it up earlier today, and there wasn't even an ability then to purchase Pro, so because there's no buy buttons. All the buy buttons are gone.
Right.
So I have 2 software titles in there, but they were indie titles that were, I think, $5 each. So I'll probably get, $10 back. So actually one was 15, but Google had sent me a $10 off to start to buy my first game. So, and it became $5. So and then my Stadia was free because I have YouTube Premium. So.
Okay. So was the Stadia starter kit available in other places other than the Google Store?
The starter kit, I want to say it was at Best Buy. Maybe it wasn't. Right. No, so for a time, I think it was all through the store.
Okay, because if I don't know if it was ever at Best Buy or GameStop or one of those places.
Yeah, I didn't get it through.
It sounds like if you bought them from a place like that, then you're not getting that refunded back.
Yeah,
only if you bought it through Google.
Yeah, I think they were via the store, Google Store. So, and I also looked into the ability to using the controller for other consoles, and
I have that's when I played Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 on my laptop. Mm-hmm. I used my Stadia controller for that, and that worked well.
And you had to plug it in though, didn't you?
No, Bluetooth pairing.
It was used Bluetooth. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that with Switch though. You can't use it with that.
That's got to be wired, or you can't
And
use it at
no,
all.
I don't even. You can't do it at all. I think
Oh.
with consoles, it has to be wired. Except for the Switch, it can't be used at all for that. So a lot of people are asking Google to at least, if there's ability to unlock it, their Bluetooth capabilities to do it. So, which I think would be cool is if you can use that controller,
It's got
for other
Bluetooth
things.
capabilities. It sounds like it's a limitation of the system, of the consoles. It's rejecting it.
Yeah. Or I didn't know if it was, it's possible.
All right.
Something's blocking it. That's not letting it use it.
All right. Let's have Justin resume.
All right.
So I'm going to stop there. That is absolutely incredible. So as an individual, and I used to, get dunked on about this. Oh, what's going to happen when Stadia shuts down the servers? Blah, blah, blah. You're right. What's going to happen? As an early adopter, you take a little bit of a risk regarding that. You don't know what's going to happen. I didn't know if Stadia was going to be a hit or a sinker, right? But I took a risk. But what they're saying is, by the way, we're giving you all of your money back, all of it. And you can keep playing until the middle of January. That's
amazing right there.
Crazy. Because my forward thought was that in 6 years from now, Google Stadia would shut down and that I would never get any of my money back because that is the risk, the thing that I had agreed to when I purchased the platform or the games. They are refunding me all of my money that I have spent on technology, hardware, software, and DLC, all of it. So what is the risk to me? Now, I didn't know that purchasing it, but by the way, that's incredible.
That's going to be a big check that Google gets to write.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's not much for some of us, but
I wonder if they're going to ever announce what that number is going to be.
Yeah, I think probably during one of their financial calls, there might be something involved, like here's the overall number hit.
Or even if they don't announce it, it's got to be a line item in somewhere in those documents.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, this is a massive loss for Google. Massive. Because they have been paying people salaries. They have been paying servers. They have been paying places to print off these controllers or build these.
Yes, they've been paying for servers, but the servers they probably already have because they are AWS, which is the server farm that 80% of the mobile apps use.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If they
there's going to be a big
for
chunk
Stadia,
of
they would have been used for something else.
Right. They're trying to make space.
These controllers, right? Like production lines, all of that. And you would recoup those costs through purchases. They're literally saying, have all your money back. Sorry, it didn't work out right. That's crazy. That's absolutely, absolutely crazy that this is happening. That Google's doing that. Not that it's crazy that Google.
What's that?
Let me say this real quick while it's on my mind because I'm afraid I'm going to forget it. Overall, and I don't think Justin mentions this either, but overall, I think there's something else to be done here. Yes, it's Google. Yes, we know about their history.
Right. I want to say real quick before I get on actually, AWS is Amazon, not Google, but Google has a similar infrastructure.
Yes. I don't know if they have a fancy name for it either, like all the others,
right.
But
like Microsoft has those jewelry.
Yeah. But my thought process when I saw this and the way they're doing it, and I could be totally wrong, this is just hypothetical thought, is that Google is going to, I don't know if you want to call it sell off this technology or rent it out or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure they still have the patents on it, and I'm sure they'll still license it out. Yeah.
So they're closing down Stadia, and they have to give back the money to the people who bought games under the Stadia name, because that if it's going to be used for anything else, you won't be able to use what you've already bought under Stadia. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Though I don't think they had to refund the money. They could have just said, sorry, closing up, have fun. Good luck. Have a nice day. I think
They didn't have to, but they needed to in order to
to keep
not
good
totally,
faith.
even though the good faith is low, because again, as we all heard, it's a Google
to keep
thing.
Moderate faith.
Yeah, there you go. Keep somewhat of some faith.
If we didn't have a show title already, that would probably have been
it. Keep moderate faith. So yeah, but I think there's something else going to happen on the back end. I think that in the letter they even alluded to that there's still some business there. They just can't do the customer facing stuff anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what Stadia becomes on the business to business side rather than the customer side, so.
Right. High hopes, moderate expectations.
Yes.
Thanks, Quag.
Stadia is ending. I think we all saw the writing was on the wall probably the last couple of years. Not a huge shock, but like crazy that they're doing this type of goodwill back to the consumers. Now, again, you could also make an argument, Justin. Google's a trillion dollar industry. Yeah, they can do that. Yeah, they can, but they didn't have to, but they chose to. And understanding that it was the best for the players.
Like we just said.
Now, before I move on to some other components of this Google Stadia conversation I'm having, I also want to say this. As we talk about something like this shuttering or closing, this is sort of like when studios close and shutter. These are people who have worked really hard for probably half a decade on the initial idea of Stadia, launching Stadia, getting in production, trying to promote Stadia, trying to be champions of it, trying to get it alive, to ultimately come to an end where there is no more runway. So for those people, I hope you find jobs well. I hope you take care of your family. I hope that Google is providing them a good leaving as well, or whatever's happening, or they're transitioning into different roles within the organization as well. Okay. So that is...
Well, they got further along and died in the same time frame as Amico got in before they died.
Yeah.
Is kind of the crazy situation of what has happened with Google Stadia. So let's actually take a couple of questions so that we can then break this down. So hold on a second. I have got a setup here. Let's take this first caller. We actually had someone call in. I don't know this guy, but let's take a listen to it, shall we?
Well, Justin, it's happened. And I hate to say it, but I told you so. I knew this was going to happen. Earlier today, you've probably already talked about this on the show, but they shut down, or announced they're going to shut down your beloved Stadia. It just shows that we're not ready for whatever streaming future that video games is supposed to be. Consumer interest wasn't there. The infrastructure's not there. And I'm just happy to know that they're going to refund the hardware and software purchases that people have bought. But I think this goes a long way to show that consumer trust in Google should be low from here on out. Whether it's Google Wave or Google Glasses or now Stadia, they have a habit of canning things without seeing if they're going to prove in the long term. It shows me a couple of things. Number one, that the infrastructure is not there here in America yet. Streaming may be a great idea in Japan, or maybe a great idea in other areas, but here in America it's not. Number two, it also shows me, based on the fact that they're refunding everyone's hardware purchases, software purchases, that this project didn't have a lot of buy-in at all. And while they tried to put up a good front, I think that it shows that people just didn't buy streaming games. I really think that Amazon Luna and other types of this are going to go the same way eventually. Whether Amazon will refund people's purchases there, I don't know. I do think this is a huge victory for people who say their collections should be physical only. LeBlanc, I'm looking at you. But time will tell as to whether companies will continue to dip their toe in it. I wonder if this will even stunt some of Nintendo's cloud gaming initiatives in the future. Well, I've got to drive through Texas now. I hope you guys have had a great show. Justin, pat you on the back. I'm sorry for your loss. But like I said, I told you so. See you next time, guys.
Make sure you
Right.
stretch, Jesse.
we
We got a stretch request in Twitch.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, it's Chad says never get hardware from Google unless you're okay with it getting dropped. Which reminded me, did y'all see on Twitter the box that I put pictures of a box I received today? It's
No, I haven't been on Twitter all day.
okay. It was a pic. First of all, there's a big old sticker on it that says "Fragile, don't drop," and then a corner is like bashed in. One edge is like almost ripped.
Nice.
But what was inside? It turned out fine.
Was it your phone?
No, it was my clock.
Oh, the clock. Nice. Sweet.
All right, I'll
Fantastic.
hit play again.
All right, so that is Mr. Estes kind of taking a little bit of a victory walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm right. You know, I will be contrary to a little bit of Mr. Estes. Yes, I believe that this first thing I would say this is, when Google came out and first said they were doing this, we all said it's going to be dead because Google kills any ideas that don't work well for them, right? So we agreed on that. Google's like faith in or consumer faith in a product going to fruition lasting a long time. Yeah, I mean that I definitely agree with.
Can you pause
Is
it?
the world, the statement of like is.
I wanted to say something about this in regards to Google and shutting things down. We've talked about this before in the show, where companies aren't your friend. And Google is proving that fact more so than Nintendo does, that Google doesn't do things because of necessarily for the consumer. They do it because they feel like they're improving something, and also to make money. If they're not making money or losing money in that manner of things that they create or do and launch and think it's a need for people and it's not successful, they're going to shut it down. And that sucks for anybody who follows Google stuff or likes Google stuff. I've been using Google stuff since Gmail launched. So if that tells you anything.
Yeah,
so,
I was also an early adopter to Gmail.
Yeah. So it's something that I've used all my life, that I'm entwined in the Google ecosystem. But I don't like the fact that they shut down a lot of stuff, but I understand that if it's not going to make them money, or if it's not going to go somewhere with it, then they shut it down. Like the Google Glasses. Google Glasses are really cool and stuff, but they had enough research to figure out that that wasn't going to make them any money yet. And who knows what will happen in the future. But there's a lot of tech and a lot of patents and all that kind of stuff that they got out of it. So, and then we see a lot of it kind of spread out in other products from the research and the development they did there. So, Jesse, anything to add there?
No, not really.
Okay.
I do have a friend, one of the people from VG Tribune, who had one of their prototype or beta Google Glasses, and I don't think they worked as well as he thought, but he was able to. They were expensive, and he was able to get a hold of a pair and gave it a try. But yeah, it wasn't ready for prime time.
Right. So
yeah, technology today now might be different.
Right.
They just might have been ahead of their time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that in not just Google, but a lot of the stuff that we see with early adopters and stuff like that. I think Justin gets into that later, so that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Is a streaming service, cloud gaming. It's not the way of the future, right? It's dead like the doorknob. So a couple things. This industry is built on evolution. It's built on trying something different. It's built on being better. It's built on creating new ideas and new ways to experience games and to evolve and to help create platforms and technology that allows for artists to tell their story. I don't believe that Stadia is a complete waste or complete failure. It may have actually been ahead of its time. Will something like this happen to Amazon Luna? Possibly. But when you look at like what the work is that Xbox is doing into xCloud, right? And cloud gaming there, it's the same idea, but it's not the only leg of the stool that Xbox is standing on, right? Xbox has so much more, so their stool is more steady, right? Whereas for Stadia, there was only one leg on that stool. So inevitably the stool will fall over. I think streaming, cloud gaming, on-demand gaming, it will eventually continue to pick up. We see organizations trying this as networks across the US, North America, and other zones and areas continue to grow, then the network connectivity continues to be there, and more companies will try different ideas of on-demand streaming content. I think Stadia may be a little bit ahead of its time. That's not to say it's not without fault, because it absolutely has fault. I am not to argue on that at all. So that's my thought on it. So let's take a couple of more questions in regards to it. But again, my commentary there is so important of, I think we need an industry. We need ideas to push things forward. And I think that, yes, there's an argument of like the collectors, the physical, I get that. But this idea of making gaming accessible to people in different ways to tell stories, I think is important. And I think that, 5 years from now, we're going to talk about a very different streaming service or streaming time or infrastructure, right? And yes, there will still always be a collector's market. There will still always be physical. But I think that Stadia, despite being a failure at this point, pushed us to try something different and to think a little bit differently. And I think you will see those ramifications in the industry. It was, here and burnt out, but I do think it has some potential to it. All right, so let's talk about, I got some messages, I got some emails. All right, so first question comes from Zablanc. Zablanc asks, Justin, my condolences for your loss. My question for you is, which Stadia game are you now the most determined to finish, if any, by the January 23rd closure date? So I have actually got up my Stadia account right here. So let's look at the games that I purchased or have access to. In my library, Cyberpunk 2077. So this was such a funny thing, because I think Cyberpunk, I picked up Google Stadia when they offered, if you bought Cyberpunk, you got Google Stadia for free, right? So the fact they were bundling in games with a platform, I thought was absolutely brilliant. Cyberpunk is so funny because I think had Cyberpunk even broke a little bit of a different way, that it actually, if Cyberpunk was having the success that Cyberpunk is having now, when Cyberpunk released back in 2019, Google Stadia may have actually been a bit of a different story, because I think everyone would have wanted to be played Cyberpunk, and you could have got it through Google Stadia. And I think that was such a big selling point for them, right? And again, also the Cyberpunk version of, or Google Stadia's version of Cyberpunk actually ran really, really good, actually much better than the consoles, because it was running off the cloud base. So it was so much easier. So Cyberpunk is actually a game that I would love to really dive back into. And again, it's having this resurgence. I was like, I got to go back to Cyberpunk. Far Cry 6, I had a great time, but I'm probably not going to jump right back that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This frustrates me because I haven't cared a lot for the Assassin's Creed, but this was Vikings, it was Ireland, it was England. I felt more connected to it. I understand it. I understand the lore, the history around it. So I was like, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. As a matter of fact, I got the Seasons Pass and I got the frickin' DLC that came out recently as well. I love Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I would love to say, this is one of the reasons why I'm enjoyed Stadia, because I could play Assassin's Creed Valhalla and not have to have a big console, and I had access to it, and I enjoyed my time with it. But that's a massive game. Sure, what else we got here? Watch Dogs Legions. I never even jumped into it. I got on a sale for like a tenner, so that was great. Jedi Fallen Order. To be honest, I've got some hours into that. I want to finish off that. I'm excited to see the new Jedi Fallen Order story, so I want to jump into that. Avengers I picked up on sale. Division picked up on sale, Destiny. Like, there's so many games. So if I was to say, like, where am I going to spend my time? Probably going to spend my time on Fallen Order because I want to really get through that. Probably go back a little bit of Cyberpunk and a little bit to Valhalla is probably where I'll spend my time now. So yeah, there is that. It's unfortunate, but it's the way things work. I mean, if we're going to come back to some other questions that are asked here as well. Okay. Let me see what other questions I have here. Someone check on Justin. Okay. Chris, HL94 asks, my question for Justin is, will you use your old Stadia controller as a paperweight, a doorstop, or a bookend? This controller,
ouch.
Right. Oh, actually, hold on a second. I'm going to flip back to the other camera here. Bear with me 1 second here. This controller right here. You know what I'm probably going to do with this, Chris? And that's funny. I'm probably going to get like a cradle or whatever and put it up on the wall or whatever with some other controllers. And it was a moment, it was a time, and to be honest, now it's a bit of a collector's item, huh? A little bit of a collector's item. So I think, yeah, it is what it is. There was so much potential there. I think that just never came to fruition. Let me see what else. Let's see what else we got here for questions. Frosticles asks, so when is Justin getting his Series S? Which will be then connected to another question I have here in a second. All right, let's go. So we're going to answer that question in a second. We're going to go over to another question I have. This is from Brian. Brian asks, hello, Nintendo husbandandos. I just caught wind that Google is doing what Google does and will abandon, in Justin's voice, here we go, folks, Google Stadia. I'd like to hear Justin's take on this news, considering he is the only person I've actually heard using the service. Will Justin now be looking to a companion console to his Nintendo Switch? And also, how much money did he spend on it, and what are the regrets, if any? So I'll be transparent, right? I just showed you my game collection there. A lot of those, I shouldn't say a lot of them, a good amount of those games are free to play. A good amount of them we got review codes for as well, which were free, which is great. I actually went and checked dollars to dimes. I put $250 into Google Stadia. I very rarely bought a game on full price, or never bought a game on full price. They did a lot of sales, as Ubisoft tends to do. I had a laugh for a while. I was actually thinking, I was like, Google Stadia is essentially my Ubisoft platform. So $250 return will be coming to me.
Or he could have gotten a Luna and gotten those games as part of the bundle.
Right.
Aren't Ubisoft games on Luna?
If you pay extra for a month, yes.
Right. Yeah, I think it was like $15 a month for that or something like that. It was the higher tier. I didn't ever buy the higher tier one.
I tried it.
Yeah, I tried the lower tier one for a few months, then I canceled it.
And I have a controller to talk about, right?
Abel says, that's half an Amico.
So what am I going to do? Or companion console? Well, it's interesting how much Xbox Series S costs, huh? Might be making that replacement there. Also, any regrets, if any? This will sound funny. My regret probably is that I didn't play enough Google Stadia. I didn't spend enough time with it. And I think that is a regret, right? I think there are some games I definitely jumped into and had a good time playing, but not enough of them and not all the time. And it wasn't my default platform I went to, right? It's something you have to be strategic to think about, right? I used a lot of web browsers, but my regret is probably that I just didn't play enough games on it, if I'm being really honest with you. And so I created a digital backlog, as you see here, but I'm getting everything back, which is kind of crazy to start with as well. So yeah, I don't really think I have regrets. I mean, I think it's a statement of it's like early adopters for everything, right? You don't know whether something's going to cut your way or not. You don't know if the technology is going to last. You don't know if it's going to be a hit. The person who bought the first iPad, you didn't know if it was going to take off. I mean, it was Apple, so it was probably going to take off, but you really didn't know, right? Tesla, you didn't really know if it was going to take off. Like these things.
Apple Lisa says hi.
Yes.
Things that the first time someone bought a Nintendo, right, or any video game, or the Switch, or when we invest in Apple buying the Wii U, man, the Wii U is amazing. I hope everyone's gonna buy it. Meh, meh, meh. Do you have regret on that? No, I had fun with it. I enjoyed it, but it's a risk you take of being an early adopter. So that is kind of my statement there. Also, I want to say here as well, coming from thanks you all, and maybe next week, I will also be able to call myself a Nintendo dad. My wife is comically pregnant and getting her eviction notice together for our little girl. Well, Brian, congratulations. Wishing you absolutely the best, your wife the best in that as well, and welcome to being a Nintendo dad and the Nintendo dad family. So that is very, very exciting. Let me take a look here if there are any other questions from...
I wanted to add, I think Brian, his signature was Crimson Skid Mark, and he's written for the show before. And Marty almost spit out his water when he saw that.
Discord, and people have been... I don't want to say people have been dunking on me because that's not right, but people have definitely been like, "Hey, what's up with that? What's going on, Justin?" I'm getting a lot of support from.
Can you pause it for a second?
Getting a lot of support.
So yeah, you gotta feel for someone like Justin who was desperate in a way. Maybe it's the wrong word to use, but desperate in a way to find that second console, and I'm throwing up air quotes here because it's not a console, but a second way to play games that you can't play on the Nintendo Switch, because the Nintendo Switch is his only system. So you got to feel for someone like Justin or anybody else out there who was in the same shoes, who used Stadia to be able to play the higher end games that they couldn't get to because they either couldn't afford the latest consoles, or maybe they had older consoles. So, and that was a great way to do it. You just paid, you may not have been able to own the games, and you may not have been able to play some of the first party games that PlayStation, Xbox had, or Nintendo had if you didn't have a Nintendo, but you could play some of those great third party games, like the ones he listed that he wants to be able to play before it runs out. So I feel for those people who are losing out on that opportunity to not have to go buy a second box, or their only box, if you will, a system to be able to play these great games on. And now they have to figure out something else. So
from people saying, come on over to Xbox. So how long has this rant been? It's been about 20 minutes. I think my final statements are like, I think that I enjoyed my time with Stadia. It's unfortunate that it's ending. It is what it is. There's some great games I look forward to playing. I can't believe Google is refunding it. That's absolutely incredible. And I think that this will be a touchstone moment in gaming, right? That not that like we're all like, oh my gosh, right? But rather it's like, hey, remember Google Stadia? That was something that happened. And it'll be interesting to see in 5 to 10 years how.
That's like people saying, hey, do you remember the Dreamcast?
All this actually trickles down. What does cloud gaming look like? I think the other question that is maybe being asked is like, well, what does this mean for Nintendo? Nothing. It means absolutely nothing for Nintendo at all.
Right.
And the reason being is much like my analogy earlier about Xbox and the stool, the fact that they have so many legs that they're standing on, they can actually have one that is cloud gaming and still be steady. It's the same case for Nintendo, right? You still have physical hard cartridges that you can pick up. Nintendo isn't leaning 100% into only streaming, right? My question would be very interesting about like what does happen to Amazon, right? Also, does Amazon Luna now try and get into that marketplace a lot quicker because now there is a void that's being created by Stadia? I don't know. I think it was a little bit of a bit of an early sign or a bit of the writing was on the wall when Ubisoft announced their most recent or the new Assassin's Creed coming, and it was not being named to go to Stadia. That was an indicator for me. I thought mentally, I was like, yep, things are done here. There's some
that was interesting.
Which reminds, I remember when we get through the not E3 week, there was a lot of Stadias in that list.
Yeah.
Now they're not. Now they're gone.
Right.
Deal conversations occurring that are ensuring that it's not showing up on Stadia. So that is kind of it. That's kind of my rant and rave about Google Stadia. Hopefully that has answered some of your questions. I think it's a very interesting conversation. I think it's this will be a very interesting journey. I'd love to see a documentary about the life and times of Stadia, how everything happened, where it all fell apart, the decisions that were made to get here. But folks, that is it. So for one last time, thank you so much for listening to me rant about Google Stadia. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep, and that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, he said everything that we were. We literally have 3 bullets, and he covered those and a lot more.
Yeah, especially like I said, because he was the one that was supporting it because of the reasons. Like I said, it was his second system.
Becca says he didn't get to my question. So
Yep, your question came after he recorded. Sorry if your question was not answered in the Discord by his video. He's going to have the video up if it's not already in our YouTube channel separate from the podcast. So if you want to rewatch it, you can go there. You can add your question there if you want, or you can ping them in our Discord and say, hey, what about this? But I also said in our Discord, Mecca, if you happen to see, I replied to that saying to your question that he might have missed it. And then we might be able to cover it for you. So because we can talk about Stadia too, not just Justin. So your question,
Canadians going to Canadian.
So Mecca's question, he had a few things. He said, does this mean the end of Cloud Dads? No, because this is why we named it Cloud Dads and not Stadia Dads. For this reason, because of Google's past. And the way they pointed it, we said, we're not going to call it Stadia Dads. We're going to call it Cloud Dads. And plus, they're still cloud games. You can still talk about cloud games in the Nintendo Switch, cloud games on Xbox. So
I'm trying to remember what the, in fact, actually, the Twitter account I created was Stadia Dads.
Okay. Bummer. But we do have a logo called Cloud Dads. So, Dads in the Cloud, I think it was actually. So, Dads in the Clouds or whatever. But it's still relevant because they're still cloud games. So we answered the question about, he did answer it, and we answered about getting your monthly subscription refunded. We said that it's not. So pay attention, Mecca. Pay attention to all these things. And then he said, dang it, though. Google makes as much money as Apple does, and they're supposedly the biggest tech company out there. How does one with more money in the world can't make a successful venture into gaming, like what Sony and Microsoft did in the 90s and 2000s, and Google and Apple are struggling to do? It isn't as easy as it sounds, and Microsoft it's not been a smooth road for Microsoft either. As we've seen. So, and Sony's had a rough road, started having a rough road with their PS3, but they were able to turn it around. And if they don't turn things around now, they may end up with another rough road for PS5. It's not always easy.
It's not good press for them to come up with a cheaper chip and then charge 50 or 20% more.
Yes. So, Mecca says I'm like his second dad these days. So, all right. Anyways, and also too, the game industry was still young in the 90s and early 2000s. So that's why we saw
Pong says hi.
What's that?
Pong says hi.
Yes. We saw some, gaming systems come in and out and leave, and we still see some now. And in order to, it's going to be harder and harder as time goes on, but it can be done.
Yeah. So, people make mistakes and then hopefully learn from those mistakes and not make them again. Which reminds me of Sega's big mistake of E3. Oh, yeah, we're going to have a new console called the Saturn, and it releases today, and all the vendors who would be wanting to sell it saying, why didn't you tell me about this? I don't have So yeah, that wasn't a good decision.
Yeah. So but again, it can be done. And we'll see it done again. There'll be some new company coming out, I'm sure, with a new great device or whatever. So we'll see. But great stuff. And I think Nick from our Game Pass News crew asked a question as well. He said, how do you pronounce Stadia post-mortem?
very carefully.
And really, how much does this hurt the streaming sector? Seems to bring legitimacy to that it could close at any second crowd. I think he talked about it just a little bit, like I think from the Nintendo side of things. But I don't think it's going to hurt because of the like he said, Stadia was on one leg of the stool, even though stool sounds funny to me. Sorry, my middle school immature
Especially
mind.
if you're a pet owner.
Yes. So anyways, the pillars of any company, as we saw with Nintendo and other things, because we're more familiar with Nintendo, I'm going to bring that up probably more, but you have to have multiple pillars in order to be successful. So Nintendo has those pillars. They can do different things and try different things. So and the other companies, Stadia only had cloud. They didn't have physical games. They didn't have anything else. So that's that. So I think there's still some legitimacy there. And the other companies can still kind of let it grow a little bit more slowly and
I think
naturally.
you kind of already answered Mecca's next question. Do you think the closure of Stadia will cause companies to be more apprehensive with cloud gaming? I think the answer is they know not to have that as their sole leg.
Yes.
If
It's
they're
great as a choice because even as we've talked before, Marty can't do cloud gaming, so he's not going to do cloud gaming. Justin can, so he's going to do it. So, but it's a choice. It allows
I
people to have
could, but
choice.
don't want to because I have all the other systems.
Yes. So same here. It's like it's for me, my Nintendo Switch is a portable system. I like being able to take it on the go. Once I leave the house, then it's harder to play a cloud-based game. So on my Switch.
Yeah. Again, unless the device itself has LTE or 5G,
Yeah.
which means you've got other problems to deal with.
Well, and my mobile hotspot is only allowed to have so much use over a month anyway. So
yeah, data caps being one of the problems.
Yes. So we got those as well. So all great stuff. And this was huge topic that dropped in. And today, because before we were just going to talk Pokemon all day, right, Jesse? We were just going to talk about Pokemon all day.
in fact, I was planning on having my normal end of month big Pokeminute, and I didn't have, with the Stadia thing and the dinner, I didn't have time to type it up, so there isn't going to be a Pokeminute this week.
Well, we still have other Pokemon stuff to talk about anyways.
Yeah.
So all right.
But I'm just saying there could have been more Pokemon, but that we'll probably do that next week.
So should we change the thing instead of saying beat a dead horse, beat a dead Stadia? Change it to that instead
I
of
approve.
That could have been another show title, beat a dead Stadia. So, all right. Well, let's move along to the game releases now. So in the news, we have a few that we can talk about. Today, a surprise drop, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary Edition bundle dropped today on the Nintendo Switch. The bundle has the base game and add-ons, which is the Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn. Previous owners of the game get 4 creations. That's content from the Creation Club, which are mods which have been officially sanctioned by Bethesda Softworks. For example, mods like Saints and Seducers, Survival Mode, and Fishing. And then more creations can be purchased through the Creation Club. Owners will also have the option to purchase the Anniversary Edition upgrade to get all the content in the bundle, plus additional quests, weapons, armor, locations, mounts, and more. It's a $70 game on the US eShop.
Wow.
With that, so it appears the first $70 Switch games is now live. Mike Burgett asks says in our Discord, the Skyrim Anniversary Edition is available digitally on the eShop. What are your thoughts? Is this the start of a trend or just an outlier?
I think this is just an outlier, just because this is an 11-year-old game that just has a lot of add-ons.
A lot of content. Yeah. And it's one that will always go on sale for half price,
Right.
if not less. So
And probably run on your toaster.
yes. So, but I still haven't picked up Skyrim because I had it before on, I think, it came out on PS3 originally.
Yeah, because PS4 launched in 13.
Yeah, I think it
And
came
this
out on
came out-
PS3, and that's where I picked it up at and tried it
Yeah,
out there.
PS3, 360, and PC.
Yep. So, and I hadn't played it since, and I didn't get it on the Switch. I may put this on my wish list and look out for a sale on it. But I probably won't end up getting it because there's still, and we've talked about this before, so many games out there. There's always something new I want to play and try. And I've been trying to get better at finishing some games that I like and am into. So, and not just letting it sit there. So, what about you? Any plans on, did you play Skyrim before? You have any plans in looking into this or what?
Never touched it.
Okay. Any interest?
No.
Okay.
I think I also read that if people who have purchased the original build of Elder Scrolls on Switch, they could upgrade to this, basically buying all the new DLC packs that are included here that they don't have for like $20. So
Yeah.
they don't have to buy the whole thing again. They can just, for the 17th time.
I'm smiling because I don't know. Did Mecha Dragon ask that question before I read all of why it's $70 or
no?
While I was talking about it?
I think after.
After? Mecha, stop bouncing around in Twitch and stay here, and then you'll hear everything. All right. So, all right.
But yeah, my history with the Elder Scrolls is I bought Oblivion when I bought my PS3. I played like the first hour tutorial, and then when I got out of the cave, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Shut off. Never touched it again.
I did when I did Skyrim, I did created my character, and I did probably a good 10, 15 hours into it. And
I remember hearing Patrick Stewart's voice in a big close up of a face that I didn't like.
Yeah, when I tried Skyrim, it was fun when I played it for that amount of time, but then it was like just the same issue I had with Breath of the Wild. Big open world. I was just not.
At least you had direction in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Skyrim has some direction too, but it was still like you had so many choices. I just felt probably overwhelmed at the time because I didn't know what I wanted to do. When there's stuff like that where I have the opportunity to, I want to find the best weapons, best armor, and all that kind of stuff. But I have the choice to go that way or another thing, and I don't know where to go. I'm afraid I'm going to end up with not the best. And then when I take all the time to get the things I got, and then I find out I don't have the best, then I feel like I wasted my time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. In fact, I think I bought Oblivion on PC just because it was so hyped and literally never installed it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because back then you could buy games on disc.
Yes. All right. Next up is Jackbox Party Pack 9. October 20th date was announced, and we just missed it by 7 days, Jesse.
Yep.
Just by 7 days.
I did a prediction that it was going to be on the 13th and was wrong.
Yes. Close, though. Did you give yourself a window or just you said the 13th?
No, I said 13th. Because it was like that second Thursday or second Friday, whatever the day of the week it is, has been when they all had, 3 through 8 has come out on that same week.
Nice.
So
just in time for Extra Life. Just in time for Extra Life, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we'll definitely be playing some Jackbox games that weekend.
Yes. And then last but not least on our game releases announcements, Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals was announced to be delayed for 2023. Another game for 2023.
So,
are you getting bummed about these, Jesse, at all? About these pushes to 2023?
It's normal. It's, we this time of year, we always see a bunch of games say, "Oh, it's coming out next year." I don't think this year's any special.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure the pandemic still has impact on this, but 2017, we were hearing, "Oh, this game's will be pushed out to 2018." So this is normal. This is business as usual.
Right.
Doesn't really faze me anymore. That and it's a game I didn't really care about. So, but I know other people are. I think Dads After Dark people are looking forward to it.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it just goes back to the thing about the industry is, talk about your game. Just don't tell us when it's going to come out. If you're going to talk about it early, just say we'll release a date or whatever. I guess I don't know.
They never gave a date. They just said
2022.
Okay. So yeah, they
just missed the whole 12-month window.
Yeah, well, here, let me see if I can find when. I normally keep track of when we first hear about games. So I'm looking that up. We first heard about this game April of last year.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So yeah. So they said 2022. 9 months before January of 2022, and now it's going to be 2023.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, with that's it for the news. Let's move on to our ad break with Justin.
Hey folks, support of today's episode of NINDADS is brought to you by Manscaped. Welcome to Fresh Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider and fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right, today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose excess clutter for fall. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com and getting 20% off and free shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS. That's 20% off and free shipping when you use the code NINDADS, NINDADS. Folks, we've talked about how awesome Manscaped is. We continue to encourage you to use the products there. There is some tremendous products that you have an opportunity to get. Don't forget that their use of their ultra premium deodorant. And by the way, don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice flavored. And it's a lovely cologne quality fragrance as well. And of course, we've talked before about the crop preserver ball deodorant. And it's just that idea just to make sure that, hey, your armpits sweat, other places sweat, make sure you're smelling nice as well. So absolutely, I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to head over to manscaped.com. Take a look at the premium package this fall. Again, a great gift as maybe preparing for the holidays and Christmas, or giving it away to a friend or whomever. These are absolutely fantastic products. Use the code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping. All the Nintendo dads use Manscaped products. We highly recommend them, and we think that you would absolutely use them as well and make them part of your day-to-day routine. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
And sorry about the echo there at first. Tim and I tested it with the Stadia video, and we saw the echo there, and I found a solution for it, but I forgot to apply that solution to the ad until I saw in the chat. I'm like, oh crap.
No, everybody said it was punishment for his sadness. His Stadia's sadness. All right, let's move on to Let's Discuss. All right, Jesse, I got a good topic for you today. Because I wanted to talk some Pokemon with you because this came up in the news.
Yeah, I don't think I got this survey, so this is new to me.
Yeah, we got Nintendo Life reported out, and I think a couple of other outlets did as well, but this is where I saw the article. Was Nintendo Life said, Nintendo survey asks what Pokemon games and spin-offs are wanted. So I wanted to ask what's next for the Pokemon spin-off game that comes to the Switch. Do you want something old? Do you want something new? Are you interested in anything on this list that we see? And I'll read it off for those who are listening and who can't see the list. But the question had, what kinds of Pokemon games would you like to play in the future? Please select all that apply.
It still says a Pokemon looter shooter.
A new game similar to Pokemon Go.
No.
a new type of Pokemon adventure set in an open world that offers more freedom to choose what to do and where to go next, a la Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
I think that'll depend on how much I like Scarlet and Violet.
A new entry in an existing spin-off series, such as Pokemon Mystery Dungeon or new Pokemon Snap.
Generally, no. Most of the spin-off series I didn't like.
Okay. So not even Mystery Dungeon or anything like that?
I never played a Mystery Dungeon game.
Okay. I know my kids that grew up
I hear they're
Mystery
roguelike,
Dungeon
or at
games,
least randomly generated stuff in them. Normally,
my
that's
kids
what they're
really
not a
liked
fan of.
the Mystery Dungeon games on the DSs. So I think they would probably really be nostalgic for that on the Switch. And I think Mecca, I think you said something about wanting a Mystery Dungeon game too at one time. If not memory serves me, I should say.
Yeah. I remember I tried Conquest, didn't like it. I had Matthew try it. He didn't like it either. And for those of you who don't remember Conquest, that was a crossover between Pokemon and Noah Bunkin's Ambition. Google it.
Okay, then. The other option is a new adventure similar to traditional Pokemon games with a set path through the world and a linear story, a la Pokemon Sword and Shield and Pokemon Red and Blue. Or a remaster of a traditional Pokemon game, such as Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or something else.
If they remake Gen 5, I would probably pick it up because I never played the original Gen 5s, and I know a lot of people still say that that's their favorite generation.
Okay. What games were in Gen 5?
Black and White.
Black and White. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, what about while we're talking about this, chat, if you got any ones that you would like to see come back or new rendition of Pokemon games, let us know what we're talking here.
Yeah. Mecca says we won't see that for a while. I agree, we're not going to see it for a while. It took 15 years to get Gen 4. So
right.
So yeah, but I'm saying, if they continue with their remake remaster plan, Gen 5 is the next logical step, unless they choose to remake 2 again. I'm looking at you, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Johto.
Yeah.
Which that wouldn't surprise me if that comes next. If they came out with a Let's Go Johto again, I've said before I would pick it up. I would pick it up.
Okay.
But I would want to see something new, something that they haven't tried before, like another type of be creative, experimental, like they did with Conquest. It may not work out, but still, I want to see them try something that they.
So you want them to do an experimental thing, go along the experimental lines.
Because a lot of people are, the biggest con about the Pokemon series is it's so samey. They are getting some experimental in the new gens, but it's still ultimately still a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see something like the first time they did a Mystery Dungeon, that was new. When they did first time they did Snap, that was new. Conquest, that was new. So I want to see again something new. I just don't know what that new would be. Maybe as Episode said, a looter shooter.
Mecha Dragon
you are a
did
Blastoise with your water cannons.
Mecha Dragon did say Explorers of the Sky. It keeps trying to move. I'm trying to see the name of it, and it keeps moving on me. Explorers of the Sky, yeah, for Mystery Dungeon. He wants that remade or a remake of that.
Okay, never. That doesn't ring a bell. He also mentioned about Pokemon Ranger. I've never played those, so I'm not familiar with what those are. So yeah, I've never really been. Normally, I play the mainline games, get Pokemoned out, and don't want to touch them for a while. So when it comes to the spin-offs, I'm like, I'm not interested. There's other games I want to play.
Yeah, I'll be happy to play an Arceus too, or something similar along those lines. Like if that kid travels in time again or something to a different space, that'd be cool.
Maybe prehistoric when the fossil Pokemon are not fossils.
Oh yeah, there we go.
And then
That'd be kind of interesting to see if that, if they continue that arc of that story, like what was it, Pokemon Legends, right? The Pokemon Legends arc.
Yeah.
To where it's not necessarily Arceus or Arceus, whatever you want to call it, too.
Like, I was hoping at the end of the story that the player character would be unisekai'd back to its native timeline and just kind of see what happens.
Like how did it impact his timeline or her timeline?
Yeah. Did the time in the past actually impact the present?
Yeah. Maybe there's a trilogy that we're not aware of yet that we'll find
possible.
So yeah, I would definitely continue that because it's as we get closer to the end of the year, Arceus is on my list of game of the year games. So that's how much I enjoyed that game. And my kids, like I said, loved mystery dungeon games. So I think that would be cool to see a new game of that, or even get, a remake, start remaking those to bring it to a newer generation. I don't know about a new Pokemon Snap though. Them doing a new one already, I think is good. That's good.
Well, even I bought the new Pokemon Snap and really didn't care for it. And of course,
I did too. It just wasn't.
I bought the original Pokemon Snap on like Wii Virtual Console, and again, didn't play it for more than 20 minutes. And I remember playing the hell out of it. I remember playing it when it was new.
Yeah.
But again, back then it didn't have a lot of options.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, when you get to pick one game, that's what you get.
Crazy Pokemon Taxi.
Oh man, I wonder if they would do a Pokemon cart. That'd be kind of funny. They probably wouldn't do that because there's Mario Kart. I don't know. Well, no, because they did Diddy Kong. So maybe they would. If it was different enough, maybe they'd do a Pokemon cart.
Would you have a Pokemon rider mounting a Pokemon quote unquote vehicle? And then have a mix and match?
Interesting. That would be kind of like a double dash type of thing.
Yeah, Raichu riding a Charizard, and then halfway through, the Charizard rides the Raichu.
Oh man, I'm sold. Take my money now. I'll take it. So yeah, I am looking forward to Scarlet and Violet. It is on my Christmas list to hopefully get one of those games. If the family doesn't, I'll get one.
I've already pre-ordered it from the I mentioned before, from the Japanese eShop.
Your voucher.
So I should get it a day early, and then plus I have a physical copy ordered from Amazon that I'm going to give to my youngest daughter, and I'll probably order one for my oldest daughter and have it shipped to her house when.
Nice.
I haven't decided that.
I'm still trying to figure out if the family wants to play it here because of the 4-player aspect of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then my son will buy his own copy, so I'm sure we'll have a chance to try the 2-player stuff. But I don't think the girls. I don't think we'll ever have a chance to link up, just because they normally don't play. They like to play the game, but they don't get far in them.
Okay. Very cool.
Too bad this game comes out 2 weeks after our meetup.
Oh yeah, that's true. Maybe we can, sweet talk our friends at Nintendo, our family members that work there. See if we can get a early copy or something.
Is that how it works?
All right, let's move on to events. All right, so to go over again, we brought it up at the top of the show. We're going to have Extra Life Game Day on November 5th, where the Nintendo Dads are not doing it streaming. We're going to be doing it live together in person. We'll be joining Phoenix Overdrive in Rome, New York. And we're going to be so tired at the end of that weekend because it's 24 hours of gaming with not just the 4 of us, but with all these other podcasters are going. So if you're following any of those other podcasters are going, if they haven't announced it yet, they hopefully will be. But if they did announce it, who's going to be there. I'm hoping we get a list yet.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see a definitive list of who signed up.
That would
That'd
be
be
nice.
fun.
So then that way we can just be like all excited about it. So, because I want to be able to start talking about some of the people I'm going to be able to chat with, but I don't want to ruin their surprise if they have one too. So, but again, looking forward to it and looking forward to any of you who are going to come out there. Again, if you can make it, great. If you can't, we're not asking anybody to come out there. It is not a mandatory. It's not a dad con thing or anything like that. If you can come out there, you have to go to the Phoenix Overdrive website. Do you remember what the website is, Jesse? It's
I think it's phoenixoverdrive.org maybe.
.org. Okay. Yeah, but you have to, once he's looking it up, you have to go there and register if you're going to be part of that whole event.
Phoenix.overdrive.com. No, that's a different site. Never mind.
So,
I'm looking.
Yeah, we're still working out all the details and learning about everything too. So, but again, you can join in the festivities there and play games too, and they'll make space.
Phoenixoverdrive.com.
Okay. You have to register too, because if you want to play any of the games and all that kind of stuff, because they'll have board games, they'll have card games, they'll have Magic the Gathering, which Jesse and I are going to be part of because we want to play and try it out.
Yeah. And that fee is to help provide food and drink and to keep people awake and energized.
Yes. So lots of stuff going on. And then also we'll be in New York for 24 hours, essentially. Not much time to explore New York, but the point of it is to meet and greet with everybody at the Nintendo New York store. One, because some of us have never been there, and two, to get to see anybody who's in the New York area and wants to hang out there as well. So again, more details we'll try to get up and about within the coming weeks, probably out on the website. So I'll probably be working on that in a couple of weeks too. So also don't forget about the dinner table. That's every third Friday of the month. We hold the community gets together in the Discord, and you have to be a Patreon subscriber or Twitch subscriber to participate. You join in a call on our Discord, and it's October 21st in October at 10 p.m. Eastern time. You can join in and we just talk about everything. So whatever's in the news, whatever's going on, whatever we want to talk about, whatever TV shows, whatever movies, whatever escapades Mecha Dragon's up to, as far as any, pony cons he's going to and meeting bands and stuff, and giving out Choco Tacos. So lots of good stories. We come up there. It's a lot of fun. So if you want to come hang out, you got to be a Discord. You got to be able to get into Discord. In order to do that, you have to subscribe via Twitch. Man, it's hard to say those words together. And or a Patreon subscriber. And that's as little as $1 there. So come join us. And that's it for events. Let's move on to what we've been playing. All right.
Alrighty.
Jesse.
Okay. I've been continuing my playthrough of Dragon Quest IX Sentinels of the Starry Skies, and I got to the point of one of my favorite puns in the entire series, and I know there's another one coming up later, but this pun is a really long build-up, so I'll quickly explain it. About 5 hours in, you come across a city named Xer, Xere. And apparently long ago, this world-famous sculptor built statues around the city, but he wanted to explore and go somewhere else. So he ended up traveling, found a new area, missed his friends in Xer, so basically recreated it, buildings and people and all, out of stone in this new area. The name of that city was named Xer Rocks because everything's made of stone. So if
I'm tracking.
What's the famous company known for copiers? Xerox.
Yes. Oh, geez, oh, Pete's.
So that is a long build up because you meet Zier about 5 hours in, and I got to Xerox 12 hours in. So it was like a 7-hour gap between that. So
That's funny.
the next pun I haven't gotten to yet. I'll probably get to that next week, and I'll tell you that story then.
Okay.
But again, this is I've played through this game before when it was new. It's been what 2009, 2010. So it's been a while. So I don't remember a lot of the things. So everything's kind of new again. So looking forward to it. But those puns I still remember just because they're awesome puns.
They're punny.
In fact, I took a picture and put it on Twitter a few days ago. I said, "Did Dragon Quest predict COVID?" Because one of the earlier bosses in the game is called the Raging Contagion.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, then I continued my playthrough of Guardian Tales. We talked about that last week. And I think the game doesn't even officially come out on the Switch until the 3rd. So early next week. So if you haven't played it yet, that's why. You can't play it yet. But I know, I think Solo Something did a video and talked about it, and he was actually more upbeat about it and more positive on it than I was last week. I was kind of down on it. I like what it's doing so far. I just have a feeling, I just don't know when that paywall is going to land.
Okay.
I know it's going to land.
You're just dreading
because
that paywall.
That's how these games work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finished World 1, I got to World 2, and like World 1, when you're not actively playing it, you're just at a campfire, it's nice and quiet, just you and like one other party member that you're able to choose from, around this fire. Finished World 1, I'm now at World 2, and the base map is now like a sprawling city that's based on the tasks available to me. Looks like this is now like a city builder on top of the dungeon crawler RPG that I've been playing for 4 hours. So I'm like, I took a picture of that and I think I put it on Twitter and I said, what just opened up for me here? I don't know what this is.
You're still talking about Guardian Tales, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I still have to fire that game up myself, so I haven't fired it up yet. So I'm kind of like, I've got all. I'll talk about that.
Yeah,
later.
so
Ahead,
it's a free to download. They give you a whole crap ton of coins and pulls and stuff.
Okay.
So you're not going to have to give them money for at least 5 hours. So that's about how long I've put into it so far.
Okay.
And I pretty much have 3 characters max leveled to 30. And then now that I'm at World 2, I can level them up to 35. Sounds like for each world, you can go 5 levels more.
And how are you liking the story?
Well, the first world story I liked. It's kind of hard to explain because talking about the story is basically spoiling it because it isn't a deep story. So I kind of don't want to talk about the story much, but I did like what I did.
Well, I've seen a lot of people post that it's got a good story, so it's
but of course, people who's played the mobile game, the thing's probably 8 to 10 worlds deep, and I haven't started World 2 yet, so it sounds like each world has its own story, and it just gets weirder and weirder as it goes on. So this will likely be a game I dabble in from time to time, just because again it's free.
Did you ever play Genshin Impact?
I tried once. I fell asleep within 10 minutes.
Okay.
Literally, I dozed off.
Yeah, I can see that. Because, I mean, Genshin has, obviously, it plays a lot towards the Breath of the Wild side of things, but it has mini stories as well in each of their areas.
Yeah, this is like a 32-bit Genshin.
Okay.
It's an action RPG. It's not turn-based, but it's on like a Link's Awakening style view.
Okay.
So with scrolling screens, the camera's above you.
Okay.
So it plays it in a 2D space,
Okay.
and it's got gotcha mechanics for your party members and your weapons.
Okay.
Just like Genshin.
Yeah, and Mecca's asking if the waifus didn't bring you in, Jesse, and apparently I don't think you got to enough waifus in Genshin.
Yeah, not really. The different characters do have nice, slightly animated art when you do the draws, but you're not seeing that. Like Genshin has got the nice 3D models, and you're looking at that back side of that model while you're playing it.
Right.
But here, the actual gameplay is a 2D sprite. So.
Right. Yeah. I think he's talking about Genshin more about the waifus drawing you into Genshin.
Well, yeah, but we were comparing Guardian Tales to
Yes.
Genshin, and both having the same type of draw.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So my main companion is a dog I picked up on World 1, and then my World 2 lets me have a second companion in my party, and I think I'm going to upgrade the last party member that joined my party at the end of the World 1 story. Again, I'm not going to say who, because that would be kind of anyone who wants us to follow the story, it would be kind of a spoiler.
All right.
But so I kind of already, and I think I have, like, because of the draws, I have like 10 or 12 characters available to me, but most of them are level 1 to 4.
Okay.
And those top 3 are level 25 to 30. So yeah, I'm going to use those.
Right.
Because they can one hit most things, or 2 hit.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. And then the last game I'm going to talk about is the Voice of Cards, A Beast of Burden. I finished this game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Really liked where the story was going up until the last boss, and then the little post-battle epilogue. I'm like, that's how they're ending it? Really? It's like they could have a whole nother game and continue the story. Maybe that's what they're going to do. I don't know. But it left a gaping hole for what...
Interesting.
So, but yeah,
so it's not self-contained.
No, it's not self-contained. They literally just characters are acted like they're going to continue their adventure. They walk off screen, credits roll. I'm like, that's it. That's how they're ending this.
They walk off into the sunset.
Anyway, but like the first game, and probably like the second game, but I never finished the second game. When you beat the game, you get an item. It's a 0 stat ring that you can equip that basically eliminates random battles. And I started a New Game Plus, but I haven't gotten it. Didn't play enough to get into the overworld where there would be random battles. I remember what I didn't like about the first game is when there's a random battle, it still engaged it, and it says, oh, but you have the ring, so you don't have to fight it. And it goes back to the explore screen again. And my complaint was, don't transition. Just keep me there in the explore screen if you're not going to have me fight. There are some events that are unskippable, and they will still transition and fight, and that's fine. But don't spend 10 seconds in a transition to say, you're not going to fight this, and then another 5 seconds to untransition. That's just 15 seconds every time.
Yeah.
That's wasting my time.
That makes sense.
So I do want to go through and play the New Game Plus again, just to kind of see if they improved that. I don't have my hopes high. They'll probably just keep doing the same thing, but I do want to find out. But again, let me know
if they did fix that. That'd be kind of curious if they did, listen to you and anybody else who may have complained about that.
And then one of my complaints about the second game was they had a lot of like audio retakes. Like the audio track, the narrator started speaking their line, messed up, and then started over.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard it 5 or 6 times. It was more than enough times to think they're not doing this on purpose.
Okay.
There's some of that in the third game. I think I only heard it twice, but still, it's off-putting.
Somebody's not doing their editing job.
Whoever is doing the editing needs to do a better job at the editing.
Wow, that's amazing to hear that. That's
Yeah, for being a Square
happening.
Enix published game,
yeah,
they,
and especially even later in in sequels.
this needs a little more polish.
Yeah, it's so strange. Is that it on the Beast of Burden?
That's it.
and-
Abuse the burden, and then I have a fourth game on my list, but I ended up striking it out because I didn't have a chance to play it. But Picross S8 landed today. I was hoping to play some of it and didn't get a chance to. So
Gotcha.
that'll likely be a game I pick up over the weekend.
Yeah, speaking of that, I did pick up Picross S. Just S. The first one.
Well,
That's the first
Well,
one, right?
the first 7 games are on sale now.
Yeah. I picked up that one because I wanted to use it to practice and start playing so that when we play, I know what I'm doing when we get to New York. So, but I was wondering if maybe I should just pick up S8 when that comes out, or now that it's out, I should just pick up S8.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Yeah, because the puzzles and how they play are they will be the same.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way I normally have my settings is I don't like I have the initial puzzle hints off. I have autocorrect errors off. So if I hit a square instead of an X, I don't want the game to tell me. I just want to figure out I messed up, and then I'll just re-roll the board and start it over.
Okay.
Because otherwise it'll correct your error, but then give you a time penalty.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'd rather just start over.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do have the blue numbers hinting on, which tells me which rows or columns I can do something with. Either mark something with an X or mark something with a square.
Okay.
Because especially when you get to 35 by 20s and there's only one thing you can do, I'd rather just have the game tell me where can I do it instead of fishing through 55 possible rows and columns, hoping to find the one thing I can do.
Okay.
So I have the blue number hints on, but I usually have other hints off. You can play the game however you want to play the game.
Right.
But,
yeah. Of course. No, it's good to hear because I'm gonna ask my wife because she plays these games too, how she's got hers set up. And I believe she sets it up one way the first time she's going through. Well, it might be the same because they're all. I'll ask her what she's got.
Yeah.
What she's doing.
So it sounds like this will have the same type of modes that the previous ones have. They'll have regular Picross, Mega Picross, Color Picross, and I think you get 2 free extra large puzzles, and then you get bonus puzzles for having S4, S5, and S6 save states on your system. So you can have up to 5 of the big puzzles.
I won't be getting that. So all right. So if I use my coins, I will only have to pay $1.48 for it. So
nice. Yeah, I spent my gold coins on this, so I got it for free.
Nice. Just shy of $1.48. So, but I'd still probably pick it up. Trying to think. Oh, actually, it's actually credits I have, and then I can use some gold coins. So I think I will. Whoops, do that.
Okay, that's everything I have on my list.
All right, cool. I need to go back. So I got to pay attention to that later. All right. Because it's like, what am I doing? So I'm trying to redeem my points. Yeah. All right. Because I forgot I put $25 on there too, eShop credit. So, all right. Anyways, I'll probably be picking up Picross S8 because I want to play it and play Jesse. The co-op, is it co-op mode? Yeah, I want to play the co-op and know what I'm doing.
It's not a competitive, it's a co-op.
Yeah. I want to be able to know what I'm doing when I'm playing it. So
apparently the Picross Cross game that came out in Japan,
That's the
think
battle.
that's
That's the battle
I
one.
think that's competitive. I did not yet pick that up. If it doesn't come out soon, I probably will go to the Japanese eShop.
Yeah,
and
I was
grab it.
hoping that would be out too, because that one interested me as well.
It's supposed
But-
to get a Western release. It just hasn't come out yet. No
All right,
word
well,
on that.
I'll get S8 so I can practice on that, because I ain't battling anybody right now. Not good
Right.
enough for that.
All
right.
Well, I'll only do it if it does have English support. If it doesn't have English support, I'm not going to download it.
Okay.
Oh wait.
Makes sense. All right. So I've been playing several games. Midnight Fight Express, I played some more of that. I believe you guys read that off last week when I wasn't on. You guys mentioned I played that. I do have a video on the Nintendo Dad's website, my first look at it. I've been playing more of it because I really enjoy just beating the crap out of people. And it's got some great animations. It's not slow at all. Plays nice on the Switch, especially in handheld. Another game I shouldn't be playing when I go to bed, but I do, and I end up staying up more than I probably should be. But it's a great beat 'em up game. I would highly recommend it. One that's been on my list since it was announced in an Indie Direct, I think it was. So, Foretales, I've been also playing. It is a card-based narrated story, essentially, kind of like your Voice of Cards, but you use the cards for battling as well. So they're telling a story with the cards, but you're also battling with the cards. It's kind of like I can't remember the name of the other games, but you use the cards to go through a path as well. So I don't know if Voice of Cards does this as well, but when you beat a card, it opens up another path underneath it, or it opens up that spot, and you draw from the deck of cards that shows a new pathway and the route you're supposed to go to get to where you need to go in the region.
Okay. So the battles are kind of gatekeepers.
Yes. Yep. You
There's
progress.
some of that in the Voice of Cards, but most of the battles are just standard random.
Okay. Yeah. So it's you get a deck of card. There's a decks that draws for enemies you run into, a deck of cards for ability skills you have, and then there's a discard pile. And then there's also cards that you get for or abilities you can do with your cards for food, collecting food. I'm trying to think of the word, but there's not respectability, but notoriety, to where if you have enough there, you can use that to scare some of the bad guys. If they're low enough, you can scare them away and not have to kill them. And there's a part of the story too, and I haven't quite gotten to the point where this is affecting my story yet, but the object is to try not to kill people in this story, because if the more people you kill or the more enemies you kill, it's going to affect something in the story. And I haven't found out what that is yet. So the choices you make, the number of people you kill is going to affect the story. The other thing I liked about the Foretales is that it's kind of like the main character I'm using has a vision because of something that they stole. The character and the character that is on my team has a vision and sees that the future can happen a certain way if he doesn't do things in the story. I'm trying not to give that stuff away here. So basically, you steal an artifact that allows your character to see into the future. You have a vision of the world ending, essentially. And in order to prevent the world ending, you have to progress through the story a certain way to change the outcome of what's going to happen in the future. And you use this, it's all card based. So, and the things that you do in the story to convince the actions of things to change so that the world doesn't end. Just it's very well done. and it comes together very well. And I wasn't able to touch on enough of it in my first look because I'm just learning more about this as I play along. I got up to the point where you see the vision and you have to make choices. But as I'm playing more and more, I'm learning that there are certain paths you have to take, and you have a time limit, almost kind of like I understand. What's that Zelda game that has a time limit? The
Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask. Yeah. So you have a certain amount of time in order to convince or to change the outcome of the story so that the world doesn't end in days. So, and I think I have like 2 days left before the end of the world happens. So I have to do these actions that lead up to it to prevent the end of the world. So far, it's really surprising me how well this has been put together, how well the card play is, and how well it tells the story. And the narration and the music is really well done too. So probably spend a lot more time.
That was Foretales?
Foretales. Yeah, Foretales.
Right. I might, that sounds like something I might be interested in.
Try not to spend that much time on that as I did, but I was trying to tell it the best as I could there. So
right. I know that was a game Marty played. It sounded like I would like. I picked it up and haven't had a chance to play it yet. So
yeah,
this might be
at least put
it
on your wish list. At least I think you might like that one for sure. Especially if you like the card battle type stuff. Splatoon 3, I've been playing more of that and actually playing lots of table turf card battle stuff in there too. I did a few Splatfest. I did a little bit of that. I did a little bit of the names are not going well for me at the moment. I can't think of the names, but there's the Splatfest that we had, and then there was the normal stuff, Turf Wars, and then the Salmon Run. That's what I was trying to think of. I did my first Salmon Run recently, and yeah, I'm total noob at that stuff. I don't think I did a Salmon Run even in Splatoon 2. So I did the Salmon Runs because this one you can do it more often. And I had to go into our Discord and learn about what all of my scorecard was, what it meant, like everything that was on there, because I didn't understand what any of that stuff was on there. Like how many kills did I get or how many eggs did I get? So, but that was a lot of fun. But I'm having a lot of fun with table turf card battles. I think I'm level 15 in the table turf. I really want them to separate that game out and make it mobile. That would be really cool.
Yeah, if it was a standalone game, I'd probably pick it up and give that a try because that sounds like what I would like.
There's some strategy in there because you get basically 3 by I want to say 15 cards maybe. You get 15 cards. And you have, and it's basically like Tetris pieces basically that you can fit in a board, but it's just like a turf war where you're trying, of course it's a tabletop version where you're trying to use your puzzle piece to paint your way the most spaces on that board essentially, and take away spaces from your opponent. And the only way you can take away spaces is if you surround these special blocks completely on all 6 sides. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? All 8 sides of the block. So each one is like a pixel. And then if you surround it by 8 pixels, once you surround that special block, then it counts as 1 point. And you get
like
up to
the
5.
Inverse of Minesweeper.
Yeah. So you get up to five of these special blocks, then you can unleash a special card up to 5 that's worth 5 points. Or I forget what they're called. They're actually, these special blocks are called something. I can't remember what they are. But if you get up to 5, you can then place it on the board anywhere you want next to another special block. It can't just be anywhere on the board, but next somewhere on the special block. So there's some strategy to laying down your pieces when you're going up to the opponent's other side of the board to where that new piece has a special block at, so that you can potentially put down your special move down near that special block.
Kind of
Hard to
reminds me a little
visualize.
bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters, if you remember that.
I remember it, but I never played it. So
It was a game on GBA, and I think there was
okay,
actually a physical release of it as well.
was it? That's cool. Maybe I'll do a video on it. I don't know if there's any video. If there is videos out there on it, maybe go check that out. But Table Turf War is a lot of fun. And I thought it would be an easy thing for them to be able to do, to bring to the mobile app, to be able to have it there. But even to have it separate, I think would be kind of cool, and then that way you could play other people. Another game I've been playing is one that we just released a video on today, and this game dropped today. Dorfromantik. Dorfromantik, did I pronounce that right? Yeah. Dorfromantik.
That's a lot of letters.
Yeah. Dorfromantik. Dorfromantik. So it is a city builder puzzle game that is a little bit more. Marty, I think, called it out and said that it reminds him of the other island builder that I was playing, that I did a video on, where it was basically just a laid back city builder as well, but there's nothing in there for you to stress you out. It's just basically you are building an island with very simple parts, and just to relax. This takes it a step further. Dorfromantik takes it a step further, where you get tiles. It's like a board game where you get tiles, and there's certain landscapes on that tile that you place on your board, and you get points for matching it up to other tiles that are already on the board for it matching up well. So if you have it's a 6-sided hexagon tile. And if it has, say, for example, on one of the sides of the hexagon trees, you want to match it up to another tile that has trees. And if you do that, then you get extra points for that. Now, if you can match up all 6 sides to something wherever you place it, you get bonus points for matching up multiple sides. And it does have leaderboards, and you get high scores, and you unlock other things as you get more scores. Again, I did a video on it. I played the tutorial before I started the video and explained what the game was about and showing it off. But again, it was just a first look. But as I play more, it has all kinds of content in there where you can do the tutorial. You can do the classic mode, which is what I was just talking about, placing tiles and trying to get the highest score in a limited amount of tiles. There's custom, you can build your own game essentially with your own rules and how you want to play. There's a hard mode where you have a limited amount of tiles and things to do in there. So there's a lot of content. I go over all the modes in the video as well, and I've been really enjoying that. And it's actually also very strategic as well. So, and it gives me a little bit of the SimCity feels that I had because again, if you've heard me say, SimCity for the Super Nintendo is one of my all-time favorite games. I love being able to sit there for hours and play that. I don't have to worry about money in Dorfromantik or citizens or politics or anything like that.
Or Kaiju Bowser.
Right. I don't have to worry about right now, as far as I can tell. I don't have to worry about natural disasters. But there's still some strategy there to be able to, like I said, pick the sides that match up to other sides. There's also goals within there too that you can reach, where if you place a certain tile, it'll say, okay, if you place this tree set here, you have to place other tree sets next to it, like say 128 tree sets, so that you get a bonus. And if you do that, then you get the bonus. Then there are flag goals or quests to where if you do certain things that meet that quest, you'll get bonus points there. Again, this all adds to your points and your leaderboard and all that fun stuff. So something to take a look into if you're into city builders. Check out my video or watch some others on it to get a feel for that game. Another game that I played that I bought myself because it's a racing game and it looked appealing is Gearshifters.
This sounds like a game you'd like.
The the best way, I had to write this down because I kept thinking of all these terms. It was like when I was playing it, I was like, this is like this is like that. So I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. It is a roguelite spy hunter like car combat shmup.
That's a lot of hyphens.
So Gearshifters is a top-down racing game where you have to shoot other cars. You're basically a delivery person trying to deliver goods and make money. And along the way, there's other people trying to stop you, other bad people trying to stop you. And they're in cars and vehicles and motorcycles, vans, whatever, race cars, with weapons trying to stop you. So it's like Spy Hunter where you're shooting them off the road and getting them out of your way. And you do take damage if you run into them or you get shot by their weapons. It is a shmup because it's side scrolling. It does shift a little bit depending on where you're going. I haven't had it go up yet, but it goes left to right, but shifts kind of like with the road. But cars are coming at you and shooting at you just like if you were in like a space shooter shmup, or anything like the classic shmups that you have going along the way where there's a bunch of stuff on the screen shooting at you and you got missiles coming at you, bullets coming at you, and you got to dodge those, and then you're shooting all the cars. So that's where the shmup comes in, and I'm really enjoying that because I like Spy Hunter games. I like shmups, but those games I have to really focus on. But so far it's starting off slow to get me used to it. So I like that. It's not like R-Type where it just throws you in and you have to dodge everything in your life, And then the roguelite part is that if you don't make it through the whole quest, through the whole stage, you have to go back to the garage, and anything you collect, you get to keep, but you have to start over. You have to start over that route again or new route. You start a new route over. So I experienced this by getting to my first boss and died, and then had to do another route. I didn't get to complete that route. I lost the delivery that I was supposed to make because I blew up. But I didn't die, so I got to do another route and live another day.
I can see where that could be detrimental.
So that's where the roguelite comes in. So again, roguelite spy hunter like car combat shmup. Gearshifters is what that game is called. So check it out if any of that sounds good to you. And that's what I've been playing. Now let's move on to the community spotlight. All right, before we get started and going over some of the questions and our family of podcast information, I want to give a shout out to everybody who stopped by in our chats, either via YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Mecha Dragon, Ebicel, Hey, it's Chad, Ninfrendo. Did I miss anybody, Jesse? I think
those are the ones who did the most
Miz
talking.
is in there too, looks like. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, everybody, and chatting with us. We've been trying to keep up on the chat there, especially when Justin was blabbing away at the beginning of the show. No, he was giving his eulogy for Stadia. But anyways, thanks for everybody for stopping by. As always, we always appreciate it when we have an audience, and we try to keep up with what you guys are all saying. So, and Mecha Dragon, I know I pick on you a lot, but I'm just having fun. So I hope it's fun for you. If it's not, just let me know. I'll leave you alone. All right. So let's go over some of the family podcasts, like Game Pass news. We have Game Pass news, we have Dad's After Dark show, and then there's the host of Retro Logic shows. So Game Pass news, that's Nick and Sean. They go over a lot of the stuff in Xbox Game Pass, Xbox news, Game Pass releases, and their own shenanigans that they got going on. So their episodes drop every Saturday. So go check them out if you haven't already. Listen to them on their podcasts, on your podcast feed. You also have the Dads After Dark show. The little bit of swearing that Justin might do that sometimes Jesse catches and maybe sometimes he doesn't. Take that and multiply that by 100 for Dads After Dark show. That's where you want to go after the kids are in bed. Listen to John and Drew talk about various stuff that affect their dad life in video games. So go check it out. Their episodes drop every Monday night or every other Monday night, unless they do a special one every now and then too. So
for this week was a day late due to a football game.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so they dropped it on Tuesday night this time. So, and then you have Retro Logic shows, which they have 4 shows in their own family of podcasts, which is their regular Retro Logic, which is hosted by Dan, John, and Sam, where they talk about retro game collecting topics and retro gaming. Then you have On Topic Retro, which is hosted by John and special guests, where they talk about specific retro games. Retro Groove is Adam and Liam. They discuss music from all generations and types. And then there's now Film Logic, which our very own Solo Something is a part of. So go check them out and take a listen. You can go check out retrologic.games and find out what all of they're up to, including their blogs over there, and keep up with them. But for all of them, you can go to nintendodads.org to see all the NINDADS family of podcasts, Spotify feeds, or go to your favorite podcast app and subscribe. You could also find all of them on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. So give them a follow there, please. Give them a subscription there. That's always helpful. And also give them some reviews. If you're on Apple, give them some reviews. Take a listen. That's always helpful as well. All right. And also don't forget about any of the contests that they do. We're not the only ones that do contests. So do these other podcasts, and these guys, they do podcasts as well. They do contests as well. So like Monthly Mayhem is ran by Dads After Dark show. They do bounty boards. They'll drop some contests on Twitter. Game Pass News also does some achievement hunters and also drops some contests every now and then on Twitter. So go check them out and give them a follow. It's well worth it. All right, now let's get into some of the community questions here. First up is a question from an email from Scott the Geek. This is in response to the topic you guys had last week from I can't remember who it was from a gentleman who was, I don't think it was Christian.
No.
But somebody asked a question about, what do you do when you got too many games, or is there too many games? Is that a problem? So, and Scott the Geek says, I'm going to say no. The problem isn't that there's too many games for Nintendo Switch. The problem is that Nintendo's discovery of said game library is absolute garbage. The search options are limited.
Quagmire.
Okay. The search options are limited, and there isn't even search parity between searching on the Switch itself, which is cumbersome, and searching on the Nintendo website via computer, which is his preferred method of searching Nintendo's site at all. For example, one advanced search option on the console, download only games are digital only and have no physical release, isn't an option on the website. And that's an option I use all the time when searching sales, since I'm a physical first guy. I'm only interested in buying them from the eShop if that's my only option. Nintendo could take a page from Steam's advanced search, which while still lacking in some features I'd like, is a supercomputer to Nintendo's Abacus. Think about that word for a minute there. FOMO is definitely a problem. While I love Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and would love to participate in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 conversation, I'm a slow gamer. What am I playing right now? Final Fantasy X. One way to better manage how much money you spend on games is to do as I do, always buy physical when possible. That way, once you're done with the game or later decide you're never actually going to play it, you can resell it on eBay and get some money back to put towards the next game. I also enjoy loaning my games out to family and friends, but we could do a whole episode on digital versus physical. And I think we have covered that
probably
topic
a few
before.
times.
Yep. So cheers, says Scott, and thanks very much for that feedback, Scott, the geek. Very much. It's always good to hear from the community on what they do about FOMO and too many games and all that kind of stuff. All right. Next up is Drew from our Discord. He asked, if Nintendo shut its stores tomorrow, stop supporting all video games, how would this impact you in the future of your gaming, Jesse?
Well, again, as I said earlier, I have an Xbox and I have a PlayStation. I don't currently play them as often because Switch and 3DS apparently because I'm playing Dragon Quest again. Are my primary systems. But so if Nintendo decided we're done, goodbye, I guess I could fall back to to those, find games I want to play. Yeah, there might be droughts because you know like Wii U era type of droughting because there's so many of the modern games are games I don't care about.
Right.
But
Yes.
but there are the occasional once or twice a year game that sure I'll that sounds like a game I'll play.
Do you feel like there would be a void if there were no Nintendo console? I mean, there's other places, those companies that
Yeah,
put
like
games on
like
Nintendo would put it somewhere else probably,
like
but
most of the indie games that are on Switch are also on Steam. So if there was something that caught my eye, most likely they'll be on Steam. Most
yeah,
likely they'll be on PlayStation.
right.
So I think they'll be not. In terms of indies, I don't think that'll change much. It just changes in what type of controller I'm holding. It's just we're just would be a little sad that we'll never have a Mario or a Zelda type
Yeah.
of game again.
Which would you miss the most?
A
If you,
Nintendo branded one.
yeah, out
As
of the Nintendo
opposed,
branded ones, which one would you miss the most if they shut down?
probably the Zelda.
Okay.
Mario games I like, but I don't normally like to replay them. But a Zelda game I'll come back and replay 5 to 10 years later.
Okay.
Like Skyward Sword. Including the remake, I've played through 3 times. Twilight Princess I played twice. They're waiting for me to play it that third time to announce the Switch version. That's
Yes.
That's been a joke that's been going on for 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
So yeah, it's about
Just
time
do
for
it,
me to
Jesse. Just do it.
it's about time for me to play that game again or Wind Waker again.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I would obviously I think out of all the games, Metroid would probably be the one I miss the most, especially maybe it's because I got my 2D feel with Dread. I'm ready for Prime, and I think just thinking back at Prime and how much into the game I was, it was like I can't wait to play that again. If they do come out for the Switch again, a remake of one, I'm all over it. Even if they don't, I can't wait till Prime 4 comes out because I'm all over it. I'm looking forward to that. So I would miss out on the Metroid games for that. And definitely Zelda, because I've played mainly 2D ones, and besides Breath of the Wild, I don't think I finished any of the other 3D ones.
Yeah,
I played them all,
rode,
but I just never finished them.
the only Zelda games I have never completed are Ages, Seasons, and Triforce Heroes.
Okay, I
I think
take that
every
back.
other mainline Zelda game I've completed.
Yeah, I didn't get to play the Oracle games. So
That was my half joke prediction. Is that remake?
Yes. Yep. That would be awesome if we could get those. That'd be cool if they did like a bundle for that. So yeah, Four Swords and similar games. Four Swords, I keep saying that would be so cool if they did an NSO version of that. That would be really cool. They did Four Swords, or I joked, I think, with All In Podcast, Seth, about doing a 99 swords.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when I think it was on DSiWare, they did
the Four Swords anniversary one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was
limited.
That was a free download, I think.
Yeah, and it was limited time too, limited download. And then Seth was joking about that, saying that if they did a 99 swords, it would be limited. Like they did with the Mario.
Ending March 31st.
Yes. So great question, Drew. Thanks for dropping that. And we've got a voicemail from Mecca.
No, I'd like to know Drew's response because he only plays on the Switch.
That's true.
Maybe he talked about that on his last week's show, and I just haven't heard it yet.
We should leave that question here for Justin too. So,
all right,
Marty.
I'll if I remember, I'll not delete that like I normally do. Okay, voicemail.
Yes.
Hello. Do you need car insurance and stuff? I'm kidding. It's me, Mecca. Hi, NINDADS. I never was good making that joke. Anyway, thought I can send you a voice message this time since you've been lacking voice messages and whatnot. And my question for you this week, I know you guys say you're not gonna be in New York City for that long, only at least 2 hours for what you calling the DACON thing, but just kind of curious, if you had more time to spend in New York City to do like anything you want, what would you want to do? Like, is there any sites or anything you heard about New York City that you want to go visit? Let me know, because it'd be kind of interesting to make a plan if you ever come back to New York City. Yeah, there's a bunch of things you can do in New York City, this Times Square, Mexico Garden, whatnot, but whatever, simple question. If you had more time in New York City, what would you like to do and like that? If you had like, let's say infinite money, basically, if you do whatever you want, like, just let us know. All right. Looking for the podcast this week. I'll see you soon.
Excellent question, Mecca. What would you want to do, Jesse, if you had the time? Would you even want to roam around New York?
That's probably the bigger question. Knowing that I don't like to travel much, I don't normally research at what I can and can't do in other areas. The complete 180 for my wife, who loves to do research on things like that. So this probably be a better question for her, but but yeah. So I really, one of my favorite phrases I use at work is, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what's out there, what's available, because I've never researched it. So I don't know if there's something out there that I'd want to do. Yeah. So really the one thing that would have been on my list is what we are doing and going to the Nintendo World New York store.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, but for me, I guess it's probably the typical tourist traps. The Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, Rockefeller Center during the Christmas time. We're just gonna miss that one.
By like a few weeks.
The site of 9/11, obviously, and the new tower there, and then everything else that I'm sure there's there. Central Park. Probably follow the same route that you saw in, say, Elf, the Christmas movie, or Home Alone 2. When he was stuck there. Just all those iconic places that you saw in movies or anything like that. Just seeing New York and seeing a big city like that, because me in Detroit. Detroit's not a big city. So even me going to Chicago, my wife and I love going to Chicago.
Detroit's a big city compared to Kansas City.
It's true. But going to Chicago is different from, being in Detroit. So Detroit's getting a lot better. But before Detroit was on the up and up like it is now, going downtown Detroit was not very much to do down there. You had a couple of hot spots, but not the whole like walkway like you could go in Chicago, where you got the was it the Millennium Mile or Magnificent Mile of shopping and all that kind of stuff. And then there's New York. It's just all kinds of shopping down there and stuff like that, which, I mean, it's not like we go shopping and spend all kinds of money. It's just we like looking at those bigger cities have bigger stores and bigger displays and bigger setups and just something more epic about it than you would going to a normal mall, for example. So seeing that kind of stuff is what I'm interested in, especially for me around the holidays. I love seeing cities in the holidays. So that's what I would love. Episode
Cool.
says downtown area, the Water Tower, White Sox, Cubs. Yeah, Water Tower is one of our favorite places to go. So, and he said Magnificent Mile is what it's called. So, yeah, and then there's also the other places like the Field Museum, the aquarium. We got to do all that, and also in Chicago, we did the medieval times. We got to do that there too. Have you heard of that, Jesse? Medieval times?
No,
It's I think it's
is
called
it like
Medieval Times.
Renfesty or?
It's like an indoor Ren Fest essentially, but you sit down, you watch like night battles, but they bring you like a a meal while you're sitting there in the bleachers or whatever, and like a turkey leg and just whatever. It's really cool. So it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
never heard of that.
So yeah, no silverware. So, but yeah, great question, episode. Not episode. Mecha Dragon. Thanks for giving us that question. Certainly, if we could, we would spend. I said this, especially to my wife. I said we're not going to be in New York long. We're just going to the World Store, Nintendo World Store, and then maybe Times Square because I think Justin wants us to get a picture there. And because the World Store is there in Rockefeller Center, I'll see that. That's all I'm going to see. So I told my wife, I said, I would probably like to do a family trip out there, whether it's just me and her, or when the kids are older, or if my daughter wants to go, because my daughter's actually jealous that we're going. Because she just found out recently we're going to New York, and she's like, "You're going where? And you're going without me?" So it's like, yeah, sorry. But I told her too. I said, if we go to New York, if you want to go to New York for your senior trip, we'll go. So, but anyways,
I just look to see who I can raid, and there is nobody on.
there's nobody on. There's got to be people on. So let me see what I got on my side here.
Yeah, but I can only raid to accounts that are followed by the Nintendo Dads account.
I thought you could raid somebody you search too. I thought, but there isn't anybody I see on anyways either. We're the only ones on.
I don't know. I'm still learning Twitch. How long have we been doing this?
All right, nobody's on. All right. Well, anyways, that's our show. And just the two of us, Jesse, well, with the help of Justin, in his morning of Stadia.
In the 23-minute video.
That took up a good big chunk, but we did it. We did it, Jesse. We got through show. All right. Shout out to all our subscribers via YouTube or Twitch. Thanks for subscribing. We're getting close to 6,500 now subscribers on YouTube. Would love it if you could pass the word on and get more subscribers for us. Or if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do and help us out. Get to 6,500. Also on a Twitch side, we got 1,387 followers and 21 Twitch subscribers. Don't forget, you can use your Amazon Prime every month to do your one free Twitch subscription. We'd love to take it. It'd be an honor. Thank you. So out of those 1,300 followers, please subscribe. That'd be awesome. Don't forget, you can also use you can get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with codes NINDADS, NINDADS. And we didn't talk about Gooder glasses, but you can also use NINDADS there as well. You can check out our merch store via nintendodads.org/merch. Or if you just go to nintendodads.org, you can get to a lot of our stuff there. You can see a lot of our YouTube videos. You can see our social medias. You can get to what we are, probably got to update it, but stuff that we recommend. You can get to our merch, our shop, all kinds of stuff there, including like that clock that Jesse's holding up. We got a clock with the 400 episodes. I got this pin that you probably can't see very well because of the shiny light, but it's the same picture that's on his clock. I'll have some of those pins to give away at Extra Life, by the way. Anyways, moving on. Don't forget, huge shout out to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Solo Something, Alexander Ocampo, RJ Kern, and Chad Benoist. Thank you, Patreon producers. And don't forget that you can be a Patreon subscriber for just $1 at patreon.com/NintendoDads. And you can follow us anywhere on the social medias like Patreon or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube by typing Nintendo Dads and finding us there. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237 like Mecha Dragon did. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. And don't forget to download our podcast in your favorite podcast app of choice, or leave a review, like if it's Apple. Much appreciated. Always give us 5 stars. If anything else, you can give it to the Mega Dads. We still like it, you can give them the lesser ones. That's fine. We're good with that. For me and Jesse and the absent Justin and Marty, this is the Nintendo Dads signing off. Check you later, peeps.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads. But I need to protect the humans.
Soundwave superior, Constructicons inferior.